Pokémon Legends Z-A is only coming out in 2025, and maybe it will be a January thing like Pokémon Legends Arceus, or, most likely, it will be a later in the year thing like any other main series Pokémon game. Whatever ends up being the case, it is not out yet, and we don't know a thing about it besides that it is in Lumiose City and has Mega Evolution. Or do we? Well, hey, I'm not so a strainer, and what about the cycle? Let's get into it. Last week I was streaming my attempt at hunting a shiny living dex, and while I do that, I usually discuss everything from life and projects in general to all kinds of crazy Pokemon theories. You should stop by to chat a little from time to time. I'm live every day of the week on YouTube and Twitch. Well, one of those theories seemed to reveal to me something that has been in front of our eyes since forever. The world of Pokemon is vast and filled with lore and mysteries, like the mystery of why you haven't pressed the like button and subscribed yet, for example. But it is also very cyclical. Things that happened in the past seem to happen again in a similar, if not the exact same fashion. And we don't have to look very far into the regions we've visited to see this exact thing happening. The battle between truth and ideals that we see in Unova with Anne and us, the player, is nothing new to the Gen 5 region, as back in the day it happened between the twin brothers known as the Hero of Truth and the Hero of Ideals. Very fitting. This is the same legend that tells of the birth of Reshiram and Zekrom from the original dragon. In Galar we saw the exact same thing. Rose almost created a full-on Neo-Darkest Day, repeating the event that happened 3000 years ago when Eternatus woke up from its slumber and turned the whole region into a max-rate den. Back in the day, two Galarian kings together with Zacian and Zamazenta stopped the nightmarish beast, and in the present day, the same exact thing happened with us and Hop calling upon the power of the weapon Doggos to defeat the Big Hand. Still, the best example of this is how meteorites appear to fall in the Pokemon world every 1000 years. This takes us to the Hoenn region and the Draconid lore, where they talk about how meteorites fell 2000 years ago and created meteor falls by destroying the Draconid people's home, with Kyogre and Groudon then becoming extremely violent with each other until Rayquaza stopped them. Then 1000 years ago it happened again and created Sootopolis, the sheer amount of energy released from that impact reverting Groudon and Kyogre to their primal forms, with Mega Rayquaza coming to stop them once more. And in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it almost happened again, with us stopping the disaster in the Delta episode when we battled the Deoxys with Mega Rayquaza ourselves. There are more examples, but until very recently we could only use this to predict the events of the future or the present. They told us what happened through prophecies and lore, and then we lived through those prophecies and lore ourselves, becoming part of that cycle. But then enter Pokémon Legends Arceus. The original Sinnoh games didn't tell us about any specific events of the past, though we always knew that its lore was some of the most ancient. The primordial gods that Gen 4 introduced surely had tales written about them, though not a lot of them appear to have survived, at least not in the way we would eventually be used to. Cynthia's grandmother simply passed their knowledge down to us, and eventually we stopped Cyrus from recreating the universe. But if we look back at Pokémon Legends Arceus and our adventure with Volo, we quickly realize that his motivations are very nearly the same that Cyrus had. Both wanted to shape the universe in a way. The only difference was that Cyrus did not know about Arceus' existence while Volo was taught about it. Still, if we take Pokémon Platinum as an example, both used Giratina to try to achieve their goals. So, in this case, the events of the present showed us the events of the past before we even knew about them. We did not know that that was a possibility, but apparently it is. And so, now we have knowledge. And knowledge, of course, is power. Pokémon Legends ZA is going to be a game that will focus on the redevelopment of Lumiose City, very likely into the Lumiose City that we know today, and the imbalance or threat that it will create for the ecosystem, something that Zygarde truly hates. And we say Zygarde because we've seen the logo and that Z surely stands for Zygarde. But that A, well, it doesn't stand for Ultimate Weapon, but it sure does look like it, doesn't it? I believe the Ultimate Weapon is the constant in the Kalos region, the one thing that someone will try to use. It was built by AZ 3000 years ago and it was used to end a conflict, though it resulted in the death of many. Then, in the present day, it was used by Lysander in an attempt to make the world more beautiful. Though from the library in Lysander Labs we can see that what he wanted was to control the population by killing them in order to be sure that resources were enough for everyone. That was his conflict, and he would use the ultimate weapon as well in order to try and end it. In Pokémon Legends ZA, we can expect exactly the same. There will be a conflict, the redevelopment itself, and then the ultimate weapon will show up as the constant once more, the thing that people will try to use in order to end said conflict. There's only one issue though, that thing is buried and no one knows what it is. Well, no one but the descendants of AZ's brother. Going back to the library in Lysander Labs, we also find books that mention the ultimate weapon. One of them states, the king's younger brother told his progeny the location of the ultimate weapon and died. That is something to be used by sophisticated powers, not by humans. Human beings must create a world where such a weapon is unnecessary, and then it stops. Lysander is a descendant from the king's brother, hence why he knows about the weapon's location, but so did his ancestors, one of which will likely be alive in Pokémon Legends ZA and have some form of role like Volo had, an ancestor that will likely be the villain of this new Pokémon Legends game. Just think about it, while Volo is likely the ancestor of Cynthia, who is not a villain unless we count the beating we all took, he is the only one, together with Gogeta, that would know the lore of Arceus. He is the only one that would know where to look. Silene, Cyrus's ancestor, is not there to look for prophecies or gods, she's there to command the Servicorps. An ancestor for Diantha or Sycamore would not be a threat in this game because they would not know about the location of the ultimate weapon. But who would? Well, the descendant of the king's brother or the ancestor of Lysander. That is the secret of their family. And you'd be having an imbalance between humans and Pokemon. The advances of the population to expand Lumiose City would be taking resources from the wildlife there. Zygarde's looming threat would put everyone in Lumiose on the edge. Just like AZ in anger ended the conflict by firing the ultimate weapon, or like Lysander, in order to stop overpopulation from becoming a true issue, wanted to use the ultimate weapon as well, Lysander's ancestor will also see the weapon as their only way out. Now the question is their target humanity, and that would make them part of a group that is acting against the redevelopment, or is their target the Pokemon, which would then imply that Team Quasar is led by someone with goals very similar to those of Team Flare? Only time will tell. And that is all I have for you today. Past, present, and future are cyclical, and that can help us predict a lot of things in the Pokemon world. But what about you? Do you think Lysander's ancestor will be evil? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. Also, you can become a channel member or check out my merch in order to further support the channel. I'd be forever thankful for that. You can follow me on social media or check out one of my streams here and on Twitch. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.